Confused about why the debate of trans women competing in sports is such a divisive issue? Here's a quick rundown for you. On one side are transgender athletes that wish to compete in their gender identity's category and say that preventing them from competing in women's sport only increases discrimination and stigma against them. On the other hand are athletes, particularly cisgender female athletes, that believe allowing trans women to compete in the women's category is unfair and unsafe. They argue that the naturally acquired benefits a trans woman could receive from going through male puberty, such as increased muscle mass, last into adulthood, and provide an unfair advantage in the sport. Here's Sally Goldner, co-founder of Transgender Victoria. Sally?
There are no benefits whatsoever for trans people of excluding trans people playing as we'll say the affirmed gender identity, or I suppose if you're someone who's identifying as non-binary in the place where you feel most connected and most safe and most welcomed.
But separating athletes by biological sex is currently still necessary because the gap between the best male and female athletes can be dramatic. So how do we maintain a balance between fairness and inclusion? Here's Catherine Debs, the spokesperson for Safe Women's Sport Australasia. Catherine?
I really think that we do need to keep the female sports category for females only because of the risk of injury, because it's unfair, because it's unsafe for the girls and the women.
But if transgender women are banned because they pose a safety risk to cisgender women, as World Rugby did last year, then why aren't cisgender women with similar physical attributes also banned? Here's Bo Newell, Program Manager for Pride in Sport. Bo?
So particularly when we refer to research, for example, quite often we refer to the biological advantages that some people point out, and the fact that if someone was born male and they transitions and affirm their gender later in life to be female, some perceive that they have a physical advantage. The reality is, though, everyone has a physical advantage in some way, shape or form. For most people, and particularly when we're talking about trans inclusion, there's this stigma and there's this stereotyping of assuming that someone who is a trans woman is a big, burly, bulky person, and that's not always the case.
So is sport a fundamental human right? Well, the Australian Human Rights Commission ruled in 2019 that it is. So what should sporting organisations be doing to try and create both a fair and inclusive space for everyone?